On April 1, 1942, Desmond Thomas Doss joined the United States Army. 3.5 years later, he stood on the White House lawn to receive the nation's highest military honor for bravery under fire. Out of 16 million men who served in uniform during World War II, only 431 received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Among them was a young Seventh-day Adventist who had not killed a single enemy soldier. He refused to carry a gun. His only possessions on the battlefield were his Bible and his faith in God. On October 12, 1945, President Harry S. Truman presented the Medal of Honor to Corporal Desmond T. Doss, shook his hand, and held it while the citation was read. The President told him that he truly deserved the award and that he considered it a greater honor than being President. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, Doss was employed at the Newport News Naval Shipyard. Although he could have requested a deferment, he chose to enlist, believing he could contribute more directly to the war effort. Upon joining the Army, he assumed that his status as a conscientious objector would permit him to serve without carrying a weapon. He asked to be assigned as a combat medic. Instead, he was placed in an infantry rifle company, where his refusal to bear arms led to hostility from other soldiers. Some viewed him as a misfit and threatened his life. His commanding officers also tried to remove him from service, calling him unfit and attempting to court-martial him for disobeying an order to carry a gun. These efforts failed, and Doss continued to serve, convinced that his duty was to obey God first and his country second. Doss had been raised in a household where the Bible was central. A framed picture of the Ten Commandments hung in his home, and the illustration of Cain killing Abel under the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," left a lasting impression on him. He interpreted the verse literally and resolved never to take another person's life. He also observed the Sabbath on the seventh day, requesting weekly leave to attend church services. This practice caused further friction with both fellow soldiers and superiors. Over time, his medical skills began to earn respect. He treated foot injuries, heat exhaustion, and other ailments during marches and training. His willingness to help others gradually changed opinions within his unit. Doss served as a medic in combat on Guam, Leyte, and Okinawa, consistently risking his life to reach and treat wounded men under fire. On multiple occasions, he worked so near enemy lines that he could hear Japanese soldiers speaking. In May 1945, as German forces surrendered in Europe, fighting continued in the Pacific. On Okinawa, Japanese defenders resisted the American advance at the Maeda Escarpment, known to U.S. troops as Hacksaw Ridge. After the Americans seized the crest, a strong counterattack forced a retreat. Doss remained on the ridge alone to rescue the wounded. During repeated trips through enemy fire, he lowered approximately 75 injured men to safety. The action took place on May 5, 1945, which was a Saturday, the day Doss observed as the Sabbath. Later that month, he was wounded during another engagement. A grenade explosion caused severe leg and hip injuries, and while attempting to reach safety, he was shot by a sniper, fracturing his arm. Before being evacuated, he instructed his bearers to assist another wounded man first. For his actions, Desmond Thomas Doss received the Medal of Honor, a Bronze Star for valor with 1 oak leaf cluster, a Purple Heart with 2 oak leaf clusters, the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 3 bronze stars and an arrowhead device, the Good Conduct Medal, the American Defense Campaign Medal, and the Presidential Unit Citation awarded to the 1st Battalion, 31st Infantry, 77th Infantry Division. The Medal of Honor was established during the American Civil War under President Abraham Lincoln in 1862.
At its centennial ceremony in 1962, living recipients selected Doss to represent them at the White House, where he met President John F. Kennedy. Before his discharge in 1946, Doss developed tuberculosis, likely a result of extended exposure to cold and damp conditions in Pacific foxholes. He spent about 6 years in hospitals and eventually underwent surgery to remove 1 lung and 5 ribs. He lived the remainder of his life with a single lung. Desmond Thomas Doss died on March 23, 2006, at the age of 87 in a hospital following respiratory complications. He was buried in the National Cemetery in Chattanooga, Tennessee.